Hi, my name's Lauren Milam, and this is my technology integration project. I have chosen to talk about digital choice boards. So first of all, the book project. I am a sixth grade RLA teacher, and I want my students to create some book projects when they are done reading their individual books during reading workshop. So after reading a book, students will have a choice to select a format of creation as well as a prompt in order to showcase what they learned, reflecting on their learning by posting and discussing on their own blog, ePortfolio website. So some instructional objectives would be really anything that you want them to do. So some topics could be plot, theme, retelling, focusing on the characters or setting, or even the point of view that the story is being told from. So thinking of author's purpose, author's craft, there's so many different things that choice boards could be used for. Specifically, I will be using them for fiction and nonfiction reading in sixth grade. So here is what my choice board looks like. So after they finish reading a book, they're going to tell me the title of their book. Is it fiction or nonfiction? And then they're going to find a picture of the cover of the book or just take a picture of their book and put it here. This way I know what book that they are doing their project on, so that I know that they're not just making things up, and that if I'm interested in this book or their friends are interested in this book after they post it on the blog, I can easily go and find that book so that I can read it too. So it has directions at the top. Students can push the play button to have the directions read to them. I used Mote as an extension or an add-on for Google Slides in order to incorporate these directions read aloud. So here is the actual choice board. So if they read fiction, they're going to go to the first choice board. And if they read nonfiction, I have another choice board for that. Depends which unit we are in or what book they are reading at that time. So first of all, if you notice, the red row at this top here is the format. So they're going to grab this red circle and they're going to choose how they want to present whatever they're teaching me that they learned about their book. So maybe it's Pixton Creator, Powtoon Video, Animoto, Prezi, Slidebeam. They can also do something physical like a diorama, a poster, a trifold. I know some students are very artistic and are good with their hands. They might want to do that, and I'm okay with that. This section D is where it gives them other ideas, or if I have some students who have a better idea than these, I have right here, it says, you can create your own prompt or idea or presentation as long as it's approved by your teacher. So I'm okay with giving students as much choice as possible as long as it's something that's doable for them. The main purpose is I want students to be able to be passionate about their project. A lot of times I think we can be very limited with the options we give students by saying, okay, just write an essay or make a poster or make a slideshow. There's so many different ways that students can show what they know. Also, every book, they might have focused on different things. So in reading workshops, sometimes kids really focus on plot, or sometimes they've really focused on retelling, or maybe they really focused on the characters or theme. And so I want to make sure I give them a lot of prompts, because sometimes we don't always focus on the same things in reading workshop. It's very broad now in my classroom. So I want to give them a lot of options because I want them to feel like, okay, well, I didn't really learn as much, or I didn't really focus on that aspect. And so they cannot tell me what they really learned in the best way, because that's not really what they focused on. So I want to give them a chance to show me what they learned, depending on what book they read and what did they really get from reading that book. So that's why even my prompts are choice. And they can choose their own prompt. If they want to tell me about something else, as long as they get it approved by me, I'm okay with that. I also wanted to make this very authentic, that even though we're in a reading classroom, where sometimes we feel like, oh, well, how am I going to apply this to the future? How does this have anything to do with my future career? Well, I want to show them that, some of the things we do in school, is linked, and there is a connection. There is a reason why that we do what we do. So I kind of put an actor, a set designer, a therapist, a business presenter, a reviewer, or vlogger. I tried to make it connected to a career. So look at number one. Talk like the character. What was the character feeling or thinking in the hard moments? Write a blog entry, social media post, or FaceTime call using one of these presenting tools. So that's just one example. Here is the nonfiction. I'm not going to go over it as much, but it's a similar concept, except it's with nonfiction instead of fiction in mind. So here, the spokesman, the business presenter, the author, the host, the advertiser, the researcher, the detective, the social justice warrior. So I wanted to give students all these options. You know, they're all passionate about something. So use what you're passionate about and what you were studying while you were reading that book, and I want you to show me what you learned. And that's going to look really different for every student. So here are some really simple examples. The student chose to discuss plot prompt 1 after reading The Giving Tree. They decided to choose the format of using Book Creator and recording their voice on the pages of the book to bring their thoughts of the characters to life. So I used Book Creator. So Book Creator is a great tool for students to choose their size and format books. And what's great is you as a teacher can put in graphic organizers or sentence starters, and then the student can edit that. So it's a great tool to go ahead, and if they need graphic organizers or sentence starters, it's great scaffolding for them. But if they don't need that, they can just start with a blank book. It also has a way where they can record
Once
their
upon
voice.
a time, there was a tree in the forest.
So this gives them an opportunity to, they don't have to type everything out. They can just record their voice and then go to the next slide. So this is an example of The Giving Tree. They had to use pictures, and then they used their voice to retell that story. So you can make this, you know, as much scaffolding as you need, or make it very independent where they can be very creative and go with it where they want, as long as they answer the prompt and they're going very in depth with what they're choosing to talk about. So you can use graphic organizers to help them. And then this is what I just showed you. This is different parts of the story. So the second example is with Giving Tree again, but with theme as the prompt. So you can use Book Creator again to record their voice, bring their thoughts of the characters to life. Again, you can use graphic organizers or sentence stems. You can work with the students. Students can work with each other to discuss what they think the feelings or the thoughts of the characters are. And then, you know, together, how does that create a theme? You know, how do these characters' thoughts and feelings, what are they going through and their challenges, the problems, the solution, what lesson are the characters learning because of that? And then, of course, independently, they can just start with a blank book. So you can give them templates that look like this, and they can input their own pictures in their own words, or they can just start wherever they want without a layout. So here is a student using speech and thought bubbles to show the scene as well as the thoughts and feelings of the characters. And you can push the play button, and the student is pretending to be those characters. And thinking and feeling what the characters are feeling, which ultimately led to the theme of the book, which was, you know, I need to appreciate when others give to me, and I need to give back, was a huge theme from The Giving Tree that the old man learned, you know, once he was at the end of his life, and he realized all this time has gone by and I haven't really focused on what's important. So even though the book didn't say that, the student had to come up with that idea on their own and kind of infer what would the character say, and then from there it helped them kind of be able to identify and explain this theme. Once they've created a project like the examples that I just showed you, the student needs to decide if this is going to go in their portfolio. Students will be required to reflect or connect on their creations on their blog. Here's an example that from WordPress of my own portfolio. It's a very easy blog or website to use to create blocks of content, to create those pages, those posts, etc. It's a very easy tool for students to use. Just make sure that you teach students how to use it first. But once they have created their story mountain, they can go ahead and pop do a link in there so they can see the actual book, and they can also take screenshots and show, a little example from their book on their website. So I already showed you some graphic organizers. You can put these right into Google Slides. You can put them into Book Creator, and really all of the tools that I used, you can use these graphic organizers for those students who need extra support and can't, or it would be hard for them to start from scratch. So you can use some of these templates. Here's another example of theme. Give them this graphic organizer and make sure that they are thinking about this in depth before they start on their projects. So let me explain the project in a little bit more depth. This was intended for 6th grade reading workshop, and I think my intentions could be vaguely structured. I wanted to make sure that this could be used for any student almost, could be easily used with accommodations, could be easy to differentiate for our GT students, and give all students really choice and that freedom of creativity. I would say that this is probably going to depend on the individual reading fluency, the length of time. Some students could read a book in less than a week. Some it's going to take probably a month. So I recommend telling your students to, hey, you're going to do at least one book project per unit that we study, or per month, or, whatever timeline is best for your age of students. Specifically for 6th grade, I'm going to say one per unit because my units are typically longer than a month. So this gives them time to stop and jot, to read the book in its entirety, and to create a project. So how does this correlate to the TPCK model? Well, first of all, it's very much Vygotsky's social constructivism. So playing, collaborating, and scaffolding with graphic organizers or sentence starters. Very much within the student's level, their zone of proximal development. Content, this is having to do with reading comprehension. How do you know a student is learning from their independent reading? Besides just asking them, and then also besides, having a conversation or taking a test, that's not really showing how much they really know or really in depth. So when students are reading all different books, it's really hard to assess what they know. Giving them an opportunity to create something is a very high ordered, high on blooms, and it requires them to really show in depth what they know. These websites all are easy to access. Most of them have an easy interface. And if you properly teach students how to use these, it can be really great tools that allow students to show their creativity, and it still allows you to scaffold their learning. So with SAMR, I would say this is the redefinition stage, because we're using blogs to share what we've learned, what we've created with the world. Students can receive feedback from perspectives both inside and outside the classroom. So again, theories is Vygotsky's play and choice, a freedom of creativity with teacher approval, of course. ZPD, they could do it with a teacher, a group independently, and there's a lot of ways you could scaffold with graphic organizers, sentence starters, give examples. And also social constructivism with a blog and ePortfolio integration. Bandura talked about self-efficacy. So using your talents to showcase the knowledge really builds student confidence, because they're like, oh, wow, I have a chance to show people what I'm good at while I read a book. So I think this connection is going to show them, I can be a good reader because I can use things that I already know to help me. SAMR. So how deeply the technology will be integrated, TPAC, how to integrate that technology appropriately with pedagogy and content, and then of course the TIM, so this is the matrix that kind of smooshes all these theories together. So the technology I incorporated was Google Slides and Note to make the voice recording. Pixton Creator is a comic creator. Powtoon and Animoto are both video creators. Prezi and Slidebean are presentation creators. Book Creator is a book creator. And then there's also Easily and Canva, which are some visual creators as well. So students can use any format they wish, technology or paper. My main purpose, like I said in the beginning, is to make students very comfortable with sharing their learning in whatever way that they're passionate about. So if you're interested in learning more about these different technology tools that I've used in the presentation, I've actually created a short video on all of these websites. So if you just click right here or click on the title, it's going to take you to a Loom video that's going to give you more specific information how to get started with some of these websites, because I know I listed a lot. Most of them are pretty simple to navigate. I'd say Powtoon Video and Animoto are the most challenging. So those are going to require a lot of time for students to get used to it and a lot of teaching on your end. So if you want to start with something simpler, I recommend using Pixton and Book Creator, Google Slides. Prezi and Slidebeam are kind of more in the middle. They can be simple for maybe an older student, but they are still a little bit on the challenging side. Let me know if you guys have any questions or any better ideas that I can implement into these choice boards. I'm really excited to get actually use this in my classroom this year. So thank you for listening to my presentation and have a great day.